Hi, everybody. Andrew Marshall here from the United Fresh Produce Association. So excited to be talking to Lisa Griffin today, Child Nutrition Director for the Union Public Schools in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about how the Union School District is incorporating fresh fruits and vegetables into their COVID-19 meal distributions. Lisa is the child nutrition director for the school district that actually won this year's Produce Excellence in Foodservice Award program. So we're so excited to be able to feature her district and the way that she is incorporating fresh produce into the variety of programs that they are operating right now. Lisa, can you give us a sense of how many students you guys were feeding every single day, what programs you did really prior to the COVID-19 situation?
Sure. We were serving about 10,500 lunches a day and over 6,000 breakfast and about 4,000 supper meals. And then we have the fresh fruit and vegetable grant in 8 of our schools. And we have a total of 18 schools, 13 elementaries. And we have about 15,500 students. And now with COVID, during the summer, actually, we served a total of about 73,000 meals a week. So it was a lot of meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And we kept that up until the very first day of school, which was August 31st.
Those numbers are really staggering. And I know that, the audience for this is going to be both a mix of other school nutrition leaders, but also produce industry representatives that are always looking to learn more about schools. But can you share a little bit about how fresh fruits and vegetables were a focal point of your school meal program really before all this hit? And then we can kind of transition to how you are continuing to maintain those fresh choices for students with the current school year.
I'm totally a believer in the meal plan that USDA has always been pushing, and that is having plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables. We do a lot of local purchasing. We feel like that's very, very important for our farmers in this area. It helps establish them as far as financially and our community. Our fresh fruits and vegetables are very, very important. I have 3 other dietitians on staff, including myself, which is 4, and we are very plant forward. We do vegan dishes for our students and teachers if they choose. We are very much into assuring that we have properly prepared produce, especially vegetables, and cooked correctly. We have about 4 chefs on staff. They are on staff to help us make sure that, and that was my first focus, is making sure that vegetables are cooked properly, because if students don't like the taste of them and the look of them, like bright green broccoli versus dull, smooshy broccoli that's overcooked, they won't eat it. And so we want kids to eat the produce, not just see it and offer it. So we've had students at the high school consume about 35 pounds of kale when we serve it at lunch. And my husband and several other people thought that wasn't possible to have high school students wanting to eat kale, but they would leave the serving line with their 6 compartment trays full of produce. We offer at least two to 3 servings of vegetable on the line. We had solid bars, offering bars for fruits and vegetables at every single school site, and that's after the line. It doesn't even isn't included in our meal pattern, so that if a student is hungry, they can always get extra fruits and vegetables to help with that hunger issue and help them to be healthier as well. So,
Lisa, you sent me so many great photos of the work that you and your team are doing at Union Public Schools to expose children to a wide variety of fresh produce items, different colorful, again, like you said, it's got to look good. Can you share maybe some ideas? Kale was one of the things that you just mentioned, but what other fruits and vegetables are typical on a menu? I think I've seen cucumbers, I've seen peppers. What else are you guys doing?
We do everything we can get that's in season. I have to stay in touch with our produce company very often, just saying what's in season now and is the price okay? And then I'm very flexible on when I write menus, to make sure that we can just insert those into our menus when they're available. We are looking at Brussels sprouts right now, and we're going to get those locally in December, but I'm starting Brussels sprouts in October and November. And I didn't think kids would eat Brussels sprouts as much, but they loved them, as was the first report from my managers when we served them last year. And so I'm hoping that'll be the same this year. We do cauliflower, broccoli, we do baby carrots, of course, and we do kale, we've done turnips, we've done greens, all kinds of different greens. All the different lettuces. We get local lettuce. We've got local watermelon, local apples. We've gotten just a ton of things from the local farmer when they were in season. And during the summer, we included that produce in our meals, on virtual meals for handout, including the tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, potatoes, onions, squash of all kinds, cucumbers, radishes.
That's just fantastic. And I really like the fact that you shared that, it's important to be in communication with your produce distributor.
Mm-hmm.
What's in season, what's available, what's in a price range that meets, a school, a K-12 school specific specification. Obviously
often they contact me and say, I've got this right now. Would you like to look at it or buy it? And I'm going, yes, anything that we can do to vary the menus, because I get tired of writing the same thing. And I know that our students probably get tired of the same thing too. So whenever there's something different, we go for it.
That's great. That's great. And so obviously pre-March 2020, you guys were doing a ton of different fruits and vegetables, like you mentioned, in different ways. During the spring and summer when school was closed because of the COVID issue, what did that mean for how you were able to reach students with fresh fruits and vegetables with the meals that you were serving? Were you doing a daily grab and go? Was it a weekly meal scenario? How were you able to incorporate fresh fruits and vegetables in the meals that you were serving then?
Our meal patterns didn't change and our offerings didn't change. We just didn't send it home hot. We sent it home frozen or cold, and we sent home instructions on how to prepare the foods, including the fresh produce, and do it safely. So we just didn't have the choices that they could choose. Like when they go through the line, they can choose which vegetable or fruit, because we did a no offer versus serve option because it's grab and go, and we couldn't implement that to go with the regulations. So we sent home the same kind of produce that we have during the year, and whatever I could get, like I said, fresh from the produce distributor or from our farmer, I included that as well. And we would do it in small portions. And then once we got to a certain size family, maybe 5 kids, 4 kids or more, we would do the larger pack of vegetable. We did romaine lettuce from the farmer, and we did a whole head, and it would be enough to probably serve 10 people, to tell you the truth. But we would do that so that it would be labor saving on our side. And they loved it. We got Facebook posts and all kinds of things from parents and families saying how wonderful the produce is, and being able to have fresh produce. And I think people think when they see fresh produce that the meals are fresh and they're quality.
Yeah, that's one thing that we had certainly heard, in talking with school nutrition directors around the country was, everybody's always looking for silver linings. And in some sense, it gave school nutrition programs another way to market themselves or to show to parents that, schools really are serving a variety of fresh choices.
I think with having to have things wrapped to go virtually, go home, it doesn't look fresh. You can't see it, when it's in the package until you pull it out. But the produce can really liven that up, because it is, when we send broccoli home or radishes or tomatoes or anything, it's ready to eat and it looks good already, and it adds the fresh component of the meal. And so I do think that's very important.
What about the fresh fruit and vegetable program? I know that the Union Public Schools has a number of elementary schools that typically participate in that program. Did you continue with that program through the remainder of the spring?
We didn't at the first, and we are now, because we had money we needed to use, because that program ends in September 30th as far as our fiscal year. And so we did change it up a little bit. We talked to our produce distributor, and we were able to get packaged fruits and vegetables in clear with the top, that looked really nice, because we had extra money that we hadn't spent for those couple of months. And the students, the parents really enjoyed those, because it's, again, a very quality product. And it'd be mixed fresh melon pieces or grapes or strawberries or blueberries, jicama, we get cucumber, just a lot of different offerings.
And it was probably a little bit easier on your team, you said, because you
Yes.
were able to get those in
Yes.
single serve, individually wrapped portions direct from your distributor, correct?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, great. Fast forward now to this current school year. Can you share with the audience about how students are able to get their meals right now? Are kids in class full time? Is everybody a virtual learner? Are you doing a hybrid approach? What's happening at Union schools in Tulsa?
What Union, we're doing a hybrid. We have about 65% of our kids in class, in attendance at school, and the 35% are virtual. And we are feeding as many as we can of the virtual. We're actually feeding a percentage higher right now of the in-class students, which is nice, but it's still not where we were before COVID, the 10,500. We're serving currently about 7,500 meals in the class and or in school, and even that is a hybrid. Some of our students, it depends on each school and the principal what they wanted for their plan for safety for kids. Some schools we have to deliver the meals to the classroom, and some meals they come through the line just like normal. They just stand 6 feet apart, they wear their mask, and we don't do any self-serve salad bars or condiments or anything like that. We just serve it to them what they want, but we still have all the offerings.
The individually wrapped items to essentially individually wrapped fresh produce items that students can take if they're in the school, just as a way to ensure that the variety is still available. Is that right?
Yes. Now in our secondaries, and I sent there were some pictures. There were pre-wrapped vegetables and fruits on the salad bars, so that we could still use our salad bars. Plus, we just don't have room on our serving lines for all the different offerings, and so we are still using our salad bars by just individually wrapping those produce items and putting them on there. And kids love to choose themselves what they want. And there are some kids that get 5 or 6 little bags of different vegetables, and some that just pick up one because they have to, but it's a good thing because they get a choice.
Absolutely.
And then we have our cooked vegetables on the line, of course. And then we have, again, like I said, the salad bar is just an extra. So we already have the vegetables and fruits on the serving line as well that we can serve, or some schools have them pre-wrapped on the serving line.
Lisa, your district is doing so many good things with Farm to School. Can you share with our audience a little bit about what you're doing currently, what you have coming down the pike related to Farm to School activities?
Sure. Well, the first thing is just to get our employees engaged into Farm to School and help them to be promoters of local produce and understand why we are buying local produce. So the end of October, we're planning a professional development day. It's going to be a field trip to one of our local farmers, and we're going to spend the day there, and our farmer's going to lead them on a tour of his farm, talk about how he farms or raises the crops organically, and he has a huge compost pile and all the science that goes behind that to make it just perfect for his soil and for growing plants. And then we're going to do some fun activities. We're going to do some demo cooking there with the produce and teach them a lot of things that hopefully they'll go back, and when they interact with students, will be very excited about serving this local product because they've actually seen and experienced it. So we're excited about that.
That's such a good point about the folks that are actually serving the children, having that positive experience and knowing something a little bit behind the scenes too.
Yes. Yes.
You had previously mentioned that you're also part of a farm to school co-op and you lead that work. Can you share a little bit about that and how that's going forward?
Well, we've done farm to school for many, many years, and a lot of schools still haven't gotten their feet wet in that area. And so in order to help encourage them, a lot of it has to do just with the purchasing requirements that USDA has. And so we're trying to reduce that hurdle by letting them piggyback onto our local produce bid. And so there's several schools that if they want to buy any of the produce that we have on our bid for local foods, they're able to do that at the pricing that we receive from these local farmers. And I think that makes it easier for other schools to start trying local foods, or if they're already trying it, getting more into their schools. And it definitely helps the farmer because the more that they know that schools and sort of an estimate of how much the schools need, they will plant that. And they've told me it's so much better than going to a farmer's market. They can raise that crop, harvest it, and bring it to the school, and it's done a lot quicker than and a lot more money for them, and a lot more distribution of product going to a school versus a farmer's market even. So it's a win-win for both of us, the local schools and the local farmers working together. So getting a bid so they can do that. And then we also obtained a USDA grant, Farm to School, for $100,000. And part of that is to take one of our current farmers, and he's going to be our mentor farmer, to try to help encourage more farmers in Oklahoma to become distributors of produce to the local schools and selling their products to schools. And he's going to be mentoring them on how to grow more and how to grow organically. And a lot of produce companies require, if you're using them as a distributor of their product, they require GAP certification. So we're going to offer that kind of training for them as well, because that's expensive and difficult, and we're going to help them get that. And then we're also going to have students involved. We're going to put up a greenhouse, and students are going to be involved in all processes of that. We are hiring a district gardener to run the gardens and the hoop house and teach students about produce and growing and biology, plant pathology, all those different things and sciences and STEM, incorporating it into students' lives so that, again, they want to eat more produce.
That is just absolutely incredible. I think you are doing just a huge service to showcase how broad and how important school nutrition can be to exposing children to a wide variety of fruits and vegetables. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for what your team is doing. Union Public Schools in Tulsa, Oklahoma is a leader in school nutrition and a leader with fresh fruits and vegetables. Thanks so much.
Thank you.